Welcome back, everyone. Today we're going to work on finding the x and y intercepts of a linear equation that has been graphed. You will find this in IXL S18, standard form, find x and y intercepts. Let's go ahead and get started. Let's get rid of this. Okay, so find x and y intercepts. Let's look at the y-intercept. What do I mean by intercept? Well, there it is right there. That is the y-intercept. That is where the line that's been graphed crosses the y-axis. So let's go ahead and get this, and I'll show you what I mean. All right, it would be right there. That is the y-intercept. And the coordinates of that would be, well, what's the x-coordinate? X equals 0 at the y-axis, right? X equals 0 all the way up and down here. X equals 1 here, x equals -1 here, x equals 2, x equals -2. But at the y-axis, x is equal to 0. So the x-coordinate is 0. And what is the y-coordinate? Well, the y-coordinate is 1, 2, 3, 4. So 0, 4 are the coordinates of the y-intercept. Okay? So there it all is written out for you a little bit more neatly. Okay, so x is 0 at the y-axis, and this is key to understanding how to compute this when you're doing calculations without actually looking at a graph. So let's look at the x-intercept. Well, there it is, right there. Okay, and of course the coordinates there are, well, the x is obviously 7, so the x is 7. And what is the y? Well, what does y equal at the x-axis? Y equals 0 at the x-axis. Y equals 0 all the way along here. Okay, so it would be 7, 0. And there are the coordinates of the x-intercept. Okay, there it all is, nice and neat for you. 7, 0. Okay, so let's look at how we're going to see this on IXL. They're going to put them in standard form of a linear equation. You're used to y equals mx plus b, which is the slope-intercept form. This is the standard form, also known as general form. And what it looks like is some number times x plus some number times y is equal to some number. And what that looks like as an example would be right here. So 3x plus 2y equals 12 is in standard form. Okay, standard form. All right, so a few things you need to know about this are, first of all, you can find the y-intercept by making the x equals 0, just like when you make the x equals 0 and y equals mx plus b. You can find the x-intercept by making the y equals 0 in your computations. And it helps if you put it in standard form, because standard form makes this easier to do both of these. Now, you probably will only see, in fact, I'm sure you're only going to see standard form on this particular IXL assignment, and that's fine. So let's look at some examples. Okay, 7x plus 2y equals 3. So the question becomes, let's find the x-intercept first. Find the x-intercept first. Okay, well, I do that by making y equals 0, right? I make y equals 0. So 2 times 0 is 0. So 7x is equal to 3. And how do I get the x by itself? I divide by 7. And if I divide one term by 7, I divide both terms by 7. These cancel. So as you can see, x is equal to 3/7. That is indeed where this line crosses the y-axis. Okay? Now, in order to do the y-intercept, I'm going to make x equals 0. I'm going to make x equals 0. So 7 times 0 is 0. Okay? So I end up, there's that bell again. So I end up with 2 times y is equal to 3. How do I get the y by itself? How do I get the y by itself? I just simply divide out the 2. And if I divide 2 out of one term, I divide 2 out of all the terms. So y is equal to 3/2 at the y-intercept. And really, that's all there is to it. So I'm going to go ahead and give you one. Go ahead and pause this and try to do this one. Okay, I'm assuming that you pause this. I'm going to go ahead and do the x-intercept first, which means that I basically ignore this, right? I ignore this right here because I turned that into 0. So I've got negative 2x is equal to negative 13. How do I get rid of this? I divide out negative 2. If I divide negative 2 out of one term, I divide negative 2 out of both terms. These cancel, and x is equal to negative 13 over negative 2, but of course a negative over a negative is a positive. So 13 halves. That's the x-intercept. All right. Now we're going to do the y-intercept. And again, you can go ahead and pause it if you want to work on that one while I'm erasing here. Okay. So the y-intercept, I would get rid of the x. So that's because I'm turning the x into 0, right? So I've got 6y equals negative 13. Divide 6 out of both sides. And I end up with y is equal to negative 13/6 at the y-intercept. And that's really all there is to it.